Hi, it's Cathy from Catherine Kelly PR here, and today I'm going to be talking to you about how you manage and prepare for a potential communications crisis. So it could be something along the lines of staff redundancies, it could be a major health outbreak, or it could be something like a security breach. But effectively it's something that you want to contain and control some of the messages going out around and about it. And a lot of this you can prepare in advance, believe it or not. So I am a former journalist, and I've also got around 20 years experience of working with and writing for the media on major media campaigns. But I've also worked in-house for various organisations, including hospitals and different health trusts. And I've actually dealt with some of these situations myself, and there's nothing like first-hand experience to actually know what you're talking about and to learn from your mistakes. And we did make some mistakes. So the first time I had to actually deal with a crisis, it was something which came out of the blue for one of the major London hospitals we worked for at the time. And we literally were glued to the telephones dealing with media inquiries and giving interviews for around 10 hours. And during that time, we didn't eat enough, drink enough, or even go to the loo enough. So we learnt by the end of it that that's really not how you do it. In terms of managing the situation, in terms of communication materials that we gave out and shared with the media, we did a good job, but we didn't do a good job of looking after ourselves. So one of the key things is to actually look after your team in a crisis and to make sure that you have people being runners and feeding them, giving them drinks, letting them have toilet breaks. And it sounds really basic, but those things are incredibly important. The second time I had to deal with a crisis, I was on my day off and I had young kids, and I ended up having a little incident room in my kitchen in my house. So I was dealing with national journalists and dealing with a measles outbreak. But because I had frequently asked questions already written and prepared in case that happened, because I had holding statements and because I had details of journalists, it didn't panic me so much because I had everything to hand. I had details of other directors and I had their contact details. So preparation is key. So what I would say first is to look at your communication channels and to make sure that you have as much in place as you possibly can. You need to look at internal communication channels, because the first people you should be trying to reach are your staff, because they're going to be having to deal with this with you, and they're also going to be reacting to it and potentially reading about it or watching it on the news. So you need to find a way, or find different ways of reaching different groups of staff in the best possible way. And this may be through email, through your intranet, through cascade systems within your organisation, with managers' briefings, all sorts of things that you may have in place. So tap into those and have things written in advance if you can, to actually make things as quick and easy as possible for you, so you're just slotting in the details specific to your incident. The other thing you need to think about are the external systems that you have in place. So you're effectively going to be using things like social media, your website, and the media in terms of issuing holding statements and possibly press releases about the incident which has taken place. So you need to make sure that you have all these things set up in advance. And towards the end of the video, I'm going to be sharing a free resource with you. It's a media crisis template plan, so that you can actually look at, apply this to your own organisations and look at maybe areas which you should be addressing and things that you need to focus on to make sure that you're as ready as you possibly can be. Because by being ready, you really take the heat out of an incident, because when it strikes without any warning, and that sounds very obvious, but you need to make it as least stressful as possible for you, because it will be pretty frantic and you won't have time to think about other things. So one of the things I wanted to focus on a little bit was what should actually go into your, what I would call a media contingency plan. And so this will be, I know it may sound obvious, but you need to have all the telephone contact numbers for all the people that may be useful for you in that situation. So it would be people like, you know, your communications manager and director, the different directors responsible for perhaps different parts of the organisation, key people that you need to be able to contact in a crisis. And you also need to think about your key media contacts. You know, who are the media that you have on side that you trust, that you can use to your advantage and to brief in these situations. And also media who you need to reach who perhaps you don't have those relationships with. Have them all in your plan so that everything's to hand, it's easy as possible for you and as quick to actually reach the people you need to reach with your messages. And you also need to split the incidents into different types of incidents. So for example, here we have, a critical media inquiry with a camera on site. So someone's pitched up, they've heard about something that's happened. Perhaps it's a security breach or a potential bomb alert. They've turned up with a TV crew. So you need to be able to react to them very quickly, and you need to know what to do when that happens. So for each incident, you have a page in your plan. So that thing happens, you pull out the page and you run through the process. You're not having to think on the hoof. You're not having to make it up as you go along. It's ready. It's prepared for you. You're taking the heat out of the incident. You also can maybe look at things like a riot or a major disturbance. Perhaps you might have a death on your premises or in one of your stores. It may be a fire or a bomb alert, or even, damage to property. So you have emergency checklists and you work through those checklists. And by following a particular checklist, you are reacting to it in a way which you feel comfortable and in a timely fashion. So if you go to my website, it's catherinekellypr.co.uk, and I'll be sharing lots of free resources with you, including this crisis media template. And I'll be sharing lots of other free resources with you over the coming weeks and months. So do be sure to subscribe to this channel and do keep watching and visiting. Many thanks.